Hey guys, welcome to the Moment of Clarity, Lessons in Leadership. I'm Dr. Williams. Have you ever heard your boss say, I can't change, I won't change, I'm not changing? Stay tuned. All right, guys, have you ever heard those phrases? I'm not changing, I can't change, or I won't change. And sometimes leaders don't say these phrases, but you can look at their actions and you can tell that they are not willing to evaluate their practices. They are not willing to look at what they have been doing for so long in order to see if it's efficient and effective. Not only do they not care if it's efficient or effective, they don't care if it's making your job harder for you. Listen, I work with leaders all over in different capacities, whether or not it's church leaders, whether or not it's school leadership, whether or not it's any type of company. When I work with these leaders, even in daycares, when I work with them, it's important that they understand that a lack of change, a lack of willingness to evaluate their practices has grave consequences. And those consequences are not just on their clientele. Those consequences fall on the people that they have been tasked and charged and called to lead. Listen, nobody wants to follow a person that's unwilling to evaluate the efficiency and the effectiveness of their own practices. Listen, and sometimes as leaders, we believe we know it all, we have it all, and we can put it all together all the time. And the truth of the matter is, as the world changes, as circumstances changes, our strategies and our practices and our procedures should change as well. The mark of great leadership is the ability to change as circumstances change. Listen, you've got to be willing to get in there, get dirty with the people that follow you so you will know whether or not your strategies are effective. Listen, one key thing about change as a leader is that if you are unwilling to change, that means you're unwilling to evaluate your practices, your strategies for its efficiency because you are okay with comfort. Listen, that's just what it boils down to. You're okay with being comfortable, and because you're okay with being comfortable, you are putting the lives of so many people in jeopardy. You are putting the effectiveness of your company in jeopardy. You are putting the effectiveness of your school or your school district in jeopardy because you are unwilling to evaluate your own strategy, your own practices. Listen, that's a difficult thing to hear, right? Nobody wants to hear that. But the truth of the matter is, if I am unwilling to evaluate my practices, I don't really care about how I'm leading. But secondarily, you don't really care about who you're leading. Because if you care about people, then you have to be willing, you have to be ready, and you have to be accepting of the fact that I need to change as circumstances change. Listen, are you in your comfort zone, right? Are you so comfortable with status quo? Are you amazingly comfortable because you've done it the same way for so many years, right? But oftentimes what we've done for so long no longer works because circumstances change, people change, companies change, and organizations change. And you've got to be willing to stand on the fact that if I don't evaluate my practices and my strategies, I'm not going to be any good for the people that follow me. That's what it boils down to. We say this all the time. Listen, I love this quote. This is one of my favorite quotes. You cannot address what you are afraid to evaluate. And so if I don't look at my strategies, if I don't look at my practices, if I don't look at my procedures that I have in place as I lead others, I'm not going to be effective for the people that mean the most to me. Listen, are you comfortable? Here's the second thing that you've got to understand. If you are unwilling to change, if you are unwilling to evaluate your practices, if you are unwilling to admit when you are wrong and try to change your ways, you really do not care about the people that follow you. One of the marks of great leadership is the ability to keep your morals the same, but adjust your strategies in order to be successful. Listen, there's so many businesses that were around in the 70s and the 80s that's still around and producing now because they looked at their strategies, they looked at their procedures, and they changed as circumstances change. Listen, oftentimes I hear people say, my leader never says I won't change, but if you look at their practices, they're saying it every day. My leader never says I can't change, but if you look at their practices, they're saying it every day. My leader never says I will not change, but if you look at their practices, they're saying it every single day. Listen, when you bring an idea to your leader that's out of the box, that's unorthodox, that maybe goes against the grain a little bit, what is their response? Are they willing to give you the reins? Are they willing to trust you enough to say, hey, give it a try? Or are they stuck in their own ways? Are they frustrated with themselves because they didn't come up with the idea that you did? Listen, change is inevitable in our lives. I don't care if you're leading a company, or organization, or a family. Change is inevitable. But if you are going to be impactful, positively impactful, if you're going to be effective, if you're going to be important as a leader, you've got to change your strategy as your circumstances change. Listen, one of the main things that I want to leave you with is the mere fact that we are so comfortable inside of our own way of doing things that oftentimes we're unwilling to even consider something new. Secondarily, if you are a leader that's watching this, if you are a leader that's attempting to lead any amount of people, but you know in your heart that you're unwilling to change your ways when change is necessary, you need to evaluate your leadership. Listen, a real leader will change when change is necessary, even though it stretches them outside of their comfort level. Listen, this is a self-reflection piece. It's a self-reflection tool. Look in the mirror at yourself, at your ways, at your practices. Evaluate yourself and evaluate if it's time for a change. I can't change. I won't change. I'm not changing. Listen, leave me a comment below. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember, if no one's following you, you're just walking. Until next time.